Welcome to another week in the life of the Nigerian Parliament. I am Terry Kumi. Now, in 3 weeks, hopefully, legislative activities would resume fully. But while the National Assembly is on recess, scanty engagements continue. One of which is Parliament's latest efforts to find a permanent solution to the farmers-herders conflict as it looks towards regulation of climate-related issues. The Deputy Chairman of the House Committee on Environment organized a stakeholders meeting on the impact of climate change on the farmers-herders clashes. Here's a report on that.
The gathering of government officials at the behest of the Deputy Chairman of the House Committee on Environment was prompted by the persistent clash between farmers and herders. Honorable Tessie Uwo is drawing attention to the impact of climate change on the unending farmers-herders conflict.
Across the Sahel region, the once verdant pastures that sustained nomadic herders for centuries are succumbing to the encroaching deserts. Their vitality sapped by rising temperatures and erratic rainfall. This ecological upheaval has set in motion a wave of migration as herders are compelled to venture southwards in search of sustenance for their livestock. The ripple effect of this forced displacement has been felt acutely in north-central Nigeria, particularly the Benue Valley. This has ignited a cycle of violence with herders and farmers bearing the brunt of the conflict. Herders have been accused of encroaching on farmlands, damaging crops, and resorting to armed attacks in defense of their livestock, while farmers, on the other hand, have been accused of retaliatory attacks and resisting herders' access to grazing fields, which of course are now farmlands. Benue State is one of the most affected by the conflict in Nigeria. In 2018 alone, there were over 400 deaths in Benue State due to clashes between herders and farmers. Thousands of people have been killed and counting, and hundreds of thousands others displaced from their ancestral homes. We have designed this initiative to address the problem of affordable green housing for displaced persons, restoration of degraded farm and grazing lands, training and capacity building, resource and water management, renewable energy integration, and peace building through dialogue and mediation. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I therefore invite you to collaborate, partner, support, and donate to this climate mitigation and adaptation initiative.
The Minister of State for Environment and his counterpart from Water Resources, who was represented by a director in the ministry, emphasized the need to pay attention to climate change.
The solution is multifaceted. One of them is what my brother is advocating today, that is advocacy and enlightenment, engagement with one another, and of course, looking for other solutions to ensure that we're able to mitigate the effect of climate change in our environment by reducing our emissions, and also taking steps to ensure that our people are able to adapt to the adverse effects of climate change. Some of those adaptive measures have been mentioned by Honorable Dixon in his paper, and I want to say that these are areas that we must look at very critically. But beyond that, as individuals, we also have responsibilities. We have responsibilities to reduce our carbon footprints. We have responsibilities to ensure that we save energy. We have responsibility to ensure that we save our natural resources. We do not waste resources, because all these, one way or the other, contribute to the climate change that we are witnessing and the driving of the farmer-herders clash that we are addressing today.
Climate change is increasing the risk of extreme weather events, including flooding, droughts, and heat waves. With increasing temperatures, the possibility of more floods and increased intensity of storms will likely occur with negative consequences of fauna and flora. Increasing deteriorating climatic conditions causing desertification and soil degradation in extreme northern Nigeria have led to movement of herdsmen, mostly Fulanis, into the middle future, an area characterized by lush grasses, and watering points in search of green pasture for their cattle.
Both the Speaker of the House of Representatives and the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, who were represented, believe it is time for regulation of matters relating to climate, considering its impact on the country's resources.
Distortions in rainfall patterns being the result of climate change have led to desertification. In search of greener pastures, herders have continued to migrate to farming communities. Given the trend, without regulation, there is bound to be clashes and crises indeed. We are already there. We will recall there have been a plethora of efforts by the federal and state governments, but with little success. For instance, at various times in the last administration, we have had National Livestock Transformation Plan, Ruga Settlement, as well as Presidential Directive by the past administration for the reopening of grazing routes. All these policy proposals were vehemently rejected by a large community, a large section of the country. As well, many states have struggled to implement laws against open grazing and in favor of ranching. The evidence has not shown remarkable success either. Recently, the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has created the Livestock Ministry in an effort to have a federally coordinated approach towards animal husbandry. I believe that this is the first of many vital steps towards uniformly addressing animal husbandry standards nationwide.
Climate is it's an average weather condition for that can over a long period of time. It has changed. Changing, it will take a long period of time again if we leave it for it to even come back at all. So we have, to me, I don't hide it. I always tell people directly that human being has shot himself in the foot and we will die. Because the changes, the drastic things you'll be hearing, flooding, it's not about to stop. And it will not stop. Not to talk of the fact that human being itself does not want to stop. We still pollute. We still careless. We still discuss the issues of climate change in cozy environment and think that's it. The problem is much more than you are seeing. And it's not about to change. We are actually at the crossroads from the speech of the distinguished senator. Today, because leaders of various nations have either deliberately or inadvertently failed to trust the judgment of scientists on the impact of climate change on the global warming, which I've just described to you. And this could have stemmed the climate that has changed if we listen to scientists a long time ago by taking actions such as reducing the emissions of chlorohydrocarbons and greenhouse gases, and of course the felling of trees which are supposed to utilize the excess energy to convert to food. Over 40 million persons are still displaced and hoping that their livelihood in the Lake Chad region will be restored. Research has shown that desertification, desert encroachment is no longer a myth. As I have told you, I told you what I was taught 30 years ago. You can travel to Katsina to confirm the scenario at the moment. In these parts of the country, over 200 villages have been displaced. Not community, villages have been displaced. Where are they? They're all heading to the Middle Belt. The coastal villages along the Niger and Benue rivers are constantly being flooded with wanton destruction of their farms and properties and ultimate displacement of families and sometimes villages. So it's not just the herders that are the problem. We're also having natural causes also adding to it. And so it's little wonder we're having challenges with food production in the country.
Now, it may interest you to know that the 10th House of Representatives has about 137 standing committees and numerous ad hoc committees, which is more than the number in the previous assembly. One of the new committees is the Nigeria-South Korea Friendship Committee, which met with the South Korean ambassador to Nigeria within the week. Here's a report on how that went.
The House Committee on Nigeria-South Korea Parliamentary Friendship met with the newly appointed ambassador of South Korea to Nigeria, His Excellency Kim Pang-kyu, within the week to further strengthen the relationship between Nigeria and South Korea. The committee expressed commitment to fostering collaboration, particularly in areas of mutual interest and benefit.
Part of the reason why we're here, first of all, the Right Honorable Speaker, the Speaker of the 10th Assembly, by his power confined on him, appointed us as members of Nigerian-South Korea Parliamentary Friendship Group. And the essence of this group is to also have extraordinary relationship within the two members' countries.
Yes.
And of course, we have met with your predecessor, and all of us discussed as family. And major reasons of our meeting was to know areas of concern where necessary efforts of this committee will also be needed to support your government. And secondly, we are also here to also let you know that we are ever ready to give you the maximum support that may require of us as members of the Parliament of the 10th Assembly. We are also here to also support in whatever area outside our parliamentary friendship relationship, in the area of socio-economic relationship, areas of business, support, areas of where the youths of our countries will also benefit from your country.
Ambassador Pang-kyu Kim, on his part, emphasized the strong interest of numerous Korean industries in Nigeria.
Both the Assembly members' support, we can make a plan to more push to our project. So already I know that both countries' relationship, also National Assembly's relationship is also important. So our embassy do my best, and also me and my members, my staff, to our best for support your country. Especially your country and our country is very similar history. So our government and our people do our best for support your countries.
Welcome back to the Gavel. On the breakdown this week, the Policy and Legal Advocacy Center continues from where it left off last week on the Constitution Amendment bills currently before the National Assembly, focusing this time specifically on the legacy bills that failed in the 9th Assembly and have been reintroduced in the 10th Assembly. So here's the breakdown with Black.
The recent Supreme Court judgment on local government financial autonomy is a welcome development for local government operations in Nigeria. Now, before the 10th Assembly, there is a bill to create for the composition, finances, functions, etc. of local government councils to be created by an act of the National Assembly rather than a law of the State House of Assembly, which is what the Constitution currently provides for. And the bill also proposes to make the Electoral Act the governing law for local government elections, rather than the State Independent Electoral Commission Acts of the respective states. The bill also seeks for a separate local government account to replace the current state joint local government account. Another bill is on diaspora voting, which featured in the 9th Assembly. Now, key issues about diaspora voting remain that the security of the processes and the systems can be questionable, and it is up to the government to be able to provide transparency into that process to gain the confidence of the people. There is also an argument that early voting has not even been achieved within Nigeria, let alone diaspora voting. Another bill is on timelines for hearing and concluding civil and criminal cases. Some sections of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act address the timelines for criminal trial, which to an extent help to expedite criminal justice. Now, for civil cases, we cannot say the same. These cases continue to drag on and on and on. However, in putting a timeline to conclude civil and criminal cases, it is pertinent to consider court processes, what will constitute or what may constitute miscarriage of justice, and the number of judicial officers available to the courts per time. Another bill is on Code of Conduct Tribunal. The bill seeks to establish the Code of Conduct Tribunal as a court under the judicial arm of government. Now, the main reason it appears would be to insulate it from interference by the executive. However, if this is to pass, there are other administrative issues that may come up. Another proposal before the National Assembly is on traditional institutions. Actually, there are several bills on this. One of them seeks to establish the National, State, and Local Government Council of Traditional Rulers. Now, a similar bill seeks to establish a National Council for Traditional Rulers to facilitate good governance by advising the federal government on security measures, serving as members of the National Security Council, assisting the federal government in developing statistical data of people, driving sensitization of federal government policies at state and local government levels, among others. Now, traditional rulers and institutions were very much revered in the past, and even today, in some parts of the country, they operate traditional courts, and their decisions are accepted by the parties in a dispute. However, there has been a lot of political interference by state governors who have now waded into the issue of succession in these institutions. This interference has watered down the respect and regard for traditional institutions. Some people believe that including traditional institutions in the Constitution and granting them established roles will strengthen these institutions. Another bill is on the timeline for presentation of treaties to the National Assembly by the executive. This is in Section 12 of the Constitution. The provisions of various treaties that have been ratified by Nigeria cannot be applicable in Nigerian courts because they have not been domesticated. A bill before the National Assembly seeks to stipulate ratified treaties be presented to the National Assembly by the executive not more than 180 days after they have been ratified. This is targeted to cure the disconnect between the executive and the National Assembly regarding treaties.
On Constituency Focus this week, we speak with Honorable Jeremiah Umaru, representing Wamba Akwanga Nasarawa Egon Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives.
Based on our agenda for the people of Akwanga, Wamba, Nasarawa Egon, we're able to achieve a milestone so far. So far, we've been able to distribute 1,000 fertilizers to our farmers because, and of course, 2,000 NAFSAT spray machines. The idea is to give to our farmers because most of our people are into agriculture, so it's just to support them in their farming activities. And of course, after that, we had training of youths. We trained over 250 youths within the federal constituency on the modern agricultural input and, of course, agricultural equipment such as pumping machine, fertilizers, and other agricultural input were distributed to those young people back home. And along the line, we distributed transformers, 6 transformers in each of the local government. And I am bold to say that we have connected most of these communities to the national grid, and they have electricity. We have distributed solar street lights to communities across the federal constituency. We have also distributed vehicles. You know, most of the people that supported us, by the grace of God, we got opportunity, and we distributed cars, over almost 30 cars, to the young people, to say thank you to them, and also to help them in their businesses. There are some of them, their businesses require vehicle mobility, to help them, to assist them so that they can be able to stand on their own. We have done motion at the floor. We push motion at the floor for the repairs and fixing of the bridge, the collapsed bridge in Akwanga that linked to Plateau State. And I'm bold to say that that bridge, immediately we moved the motion and was approved by the House. Immediately the Federal Minister of Works moved into action, and it was done. And aside the bridge, the road linking Wamba and Bokos in Plateau State, after moving the motion, it was a joint motion that was done by myself, Honorable Lalu, and Honorable Leko. Immediately, the contractor moved to site, and I'm bold to say that the work is going on, and the contractor is on site. And aside that, we have also moved other motions and bills, that have direct impact on our people. One of the bills, in all, we have moved 10 bills. We have presented 10 bills for first reading. One of the bill skills, second reading, the one for the establishment of Agricultural Energy Technical Institute in Nasarawa, Egon. The whole idea is to give our farmers who are into big-time farming a platform to expand in their businesses. And of course, we know about the renewable energy. So the idea is to be able to have an institute that will be able to, provide technical support for that aspect. We also engage in scholarship for our young ones who are in the universities, in the higher institutions. We so far we've given up to 150 of our young people scholarship of 50,000. Yes, it's small, but for me, I feel it's a way of supporting them. Some of these students do not have anybody to help them, so we decided to give them this support to help them in their school and their studies. So far, about 150 of our young people got 50,000 naira each from us as intervention and scholarship. Of course, we had our young ones who were called to the Nigerian Law School, that went to the Nigerian Law School. Also, we supported them in the law school. Each of them would give 100,000 just to cushion and to reduce the impact and the effect of the fees in the law school. And that we're still doing. We are compiling for the second batch of the people that will benefit from the constituency.
Well, that's the Gavel this week. Thanks for your time. Go to Channels TV on YouTube for more on the Gavel. I'm Terry Ikumi. Goodbye.